So the real title of this video should be one reason why I hate telling people that I ride a motorcycle, especially to those who never owned one or rode one. But that title would probably be too long for YouTube. Anywho, I don't know where to really start other than to just start rambling to y'all about my interactions lately and throughout the years about being an automotive enthusiast who enjoys riding a motorcycle. Show of hands for you other bikers out there, can you relate with me when I say that the one thing I absolutely despise would have to be when people tell me how dangerous it is to ride a motorcycle, or that they know someone's cousin's grandpa's, niece's husband's cat's adoptive owner's friend who got killed in an accident. I exaggerated that last bit for the simple reason that some of the critics are really reaching to find a reason to tell me why I shouldn't ride because they know a guy or gal that unfortunately died or got severely hurt from riding one of those so-called two-wheeled death contraptions. Bear with me as I'm really passionate about this subject matter and would like to put several things into perspective. Before I continue, let me be clear. I'm very aware that generally speaking, those people who said that motorcycles are dangerous or that someone they know has died have good intentions. In some cases, it's coming from a place of trauma. They just don't want you to be another statistic and they didn't mean any real harm. They're often just concerned for your safety. Look, I get it. I really do, and I appreciate it. But again, life is a dangerous game. Some of y'all may be eating your next heart attack, or smoking your last cigar, or drinking your last shot. Life isn't guaranteed every day, which is why you gotta make the most of it. And if riding motorcycles is where I find my peace and solace, so be it. Worst case scenario, however cliche it might sound, I died doing something I enjoyed. Best case scenario, I get to ride another day. If you're going to live life deathly afraid to do things, then you do you, man. Alright, now that's out of the way, let's start with some stats. In the Grand Ole USA, motorcyclists are anywhere between 20 to 35 times more likely to die in an accident for every mile traveled, or in the case of vehicle accidents altogether, are 5.5 times more likely to be involved in a fatal accident. On the surface, those numbers look rather alarming, and they are, to a degree, but let me break it down for you in more digestible terms. According to the Insurance Institute of Highway Safety, or IIHS, there are 8.3 million registered motorcycles in 2018. I'm sure those numbers have since increased given the current seller's market in 2020 and 2021, but we'll run with those numbers. And according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, there were a little over 5,000 fatal accidents involving motorcycles in 2019. Meaning if you were to do the math and you happen to own and operate a motorcycle, you would have about a 0.0006 or 0.06% chance of getting into a fatal accident on your motorcycle. Now let's look at cars to put things into perspective, as many people drive cars every single day, whereas they don't typically drive a motorcycle, at least in the US, every day. There's over 36 to 38,000 fatal accidents or more a year in the USA, with 276 million or so registered cars. The math works out with you having about a 0.01% chance of being involved in a fatal car accident, backing up the approximate statistic that motorcycles are about 5.5 times more likely to be involved in a fatal accident. Now that you see these percentages together, take a step back and recognize that whether or not we realize it, cars don't necessarily guarantee your safety. In fact, one could argue that driving is still one of the most dangerous daily activities we do without acknowledging that it's actually somewhat dangerous. For instance, do you really think those who died in a car accident thought to themselves that they weren't going to make it back home safely today? No, of course not. We all just assume we'll live another day. Unfortunate circumstances like this can happen to anyone at any time. I share these statistics with you to give you guys a perspective that although operating a car is undoubtedly safer, all of the negative press that you see about some motorcycle accident is what gets all the attention. For one reason or another, the media depicts these gruesome accidents surrounding motorcycles but don't seem to pay anywhere near the amount of attention to car accidents, therefore creating this disproportionate perception that motorcycles equals instant death traps. Now again, don't get me wrong, motorcycles are definitely more dangerous. After all, you don't have a metal cage surrounding you or airbags, and bluntly speaking, not everyone is mechanically inclined to operate a motorcycle. I mean, for the love of God, some people could barely operate an automatic car. I'm sure many of you watching this would agree with me 100%, which makes me actually look forward to the bittersweet day when more cars will be fully autonomous. Moving on to the main subject at hand, nothing irks me more when people tell me to stop riding or tell me about some death. Listen, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Why would you possibly think that's an appropriate first response to instantly bring up at the very first mention of me riding a motorcycle? I can't tell y'all how many times I've had these interactions. Without fail, someone always brings up these talking points. The only times where people don't bring up something negative about me riding is when it's another car guy or a motorcyclist. They're actually interested in my hobby. But really, think about what most people say to me. That sets the tone for the rest of our conversation going forward. It's an instant Debbie Downer and mood killer. Imagine, if you will, I'm conversing with people and I hear someone say that one of their pastimes or hobbies is that they like to go out and drink on the weekends. And then I respond by saying, oh, well, you know that alcohol is a depressant and has proven to show signs of permanent brain damage and kills almost 100,000 people per year in just the USA alone? Imagine if I said that to people. I must be real fun at parties, am I right? No! I could easily poke holes in other people's hobbies like a pair of free climbers once told me that they never ride a motorcycle, yet they're scaling mountains without any gear. Nah, you got me effed up. Yet I never tell them to stop because it's dangerous. It's implied. We know, of course, and yet we accept the risk. To some people, the reward still outweighs the risk, and to each their own. Who are you to tell others that their hobby is dangerous and that they should stop? I've had people tell me that I'd probably stop after my first real accident, but then I'd proceed to show them my scars from said accidents. Thankfully, I'm always wearing gear, and I tell them I'm still going. It's not me being some defiant kid, it's really not that deep. I just genuinely enjoyed riding too much to care to stop. I did want to leave on one final note. To those of you who are guilty of saying these negative things to bikers, you're far from alone. It's alright. For next time, just be mindful and live a little. Alrighty, appreciate y'all for tuning in and hearing me vent. Take care, I'll see y'all the next one, but until then, peace.